Hi everybody, it's Terry. I'm going to make just a simple paint storage shelf. So what I'm going to do is get these together, and what I want to say before I go into the fast forward and whatnot. These two are bigger. This one, which you'll notice doesn't have a hole in it, well, I took that apart to make something else, but didn't end up needing it or whatever, and now I can't find the piece that goes in it. So I took one of these wood planks and I measured it out and put that in there. So I used my miter shears for the whole thing, so I didn't have to use any saws or anything. I just used miter shears. But since these are bigger, we want to keep them to the outside, because if we put them in here, we're going to end up with gaps and whatnot. We don't want that. So we're going to even it up to the side that's going against the rest, so that our overhang or our gaps or whatever is on the outside. Are on the outside. So the rest of them look like they match up pretty well. So anyways, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to either use some paint stir sticks. I'm not sure. The paint, this is going to go up on the wall at the side, so the paint's going to lay in here. So if I try to jazzy it up and put a shelf down here, then that's going to limit how much paint I can have in here, and I don't really want that. But it's not off the table using the stir sticks, but I'm pretty sure. So I have a bunch of these planks, and they are about the same width as the boxes are. So I think that, we shall put these up here to make a roof out of it, make it look like a little house. So when we do our paint, we're going to take each one. You can either write burnt umber on the top, or you can put a little dab of paint on it. So that will be completely up to you. So right now we need wood glue, as many crates as you want to put together. This is all I have, is 8, but you can make it a lot bigger or a lot smaller. You can make it with 4, make it with 2, whatever you have the means to do. This is all I have as far as crates go. I'm trying to use up what I have down here, so I can make room for more stuff. And I'm really disheartened because of all the fancy Christmas stuff that's in the stores, that I told myself I can't buy anything until I clear out my stash. So anyways, I want you to see this. That's how big of a difference this one is to the other one. So when I glue these together, I'll have to set this. I'm going to glue them in sections, so I'll have to set them up so that it's the same size as that. That's the only thing that I have to do, other than just keep these two out completely. But I've tried it against different pieces, and it's not so high on this side. So maybe we can just do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these all together in 2s and then come back. And of course we need some clamps, whichever kind of clamps you have. There's no wrong clamp. I have the big ones here. I have these we can use. I have these we can use. It doesn't matter, just so that they stay together without any gaps in them. So now I'm going to go into the voiceover part. First of all, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll consider hitting like and subscribe, maybe even sharing. Okay, let's glue some crates together. So like I mentioned, these are all different sizes. They are just all over the board. I didn't even realize it beforehand. I knew that they were off, but I didn't even realize by how much until I started doing them. But I got it together, and it looks really good. And you know, it's my own personal use. I need it, you know, when I do the final reveal, where you'll see paint in it, you'll see it right where it's going to set. So I definitely needed it there. It's just a reach away. Um, so anyways, make sure that your boxes are even with themselves, and make sure, you know, the ones that go in the center need to be even on both sides, because they're going to have, you know, the other boxes are going to come in and sandwich them. So you need them to be as straight as possible. The one with the ledge on it that I showed you in the beginning was too big, is the one that I use for the A-frame. So I'm taking Crafter's Closet glue from the Dollar General, which I use for almost everything now because it's such a it's a good glue. It sets up fairly quickly. You know, of course, it's not ready to use for another probably 24 hours or whatever. I don't even know what the recommended time is, but most of them are 24 hours. But this will already tack up after about 10 minutes. You're good to go, as long as you're careful. So 3 13/16 is what that small piece is. And that happens to be the piece that was left over from where I put the end on the box. If you'll notice, that one box doesn't have a hole in it. That's the piece that was left over from that. So I went ahead and went with that, and I'm using my miter shears that I got from Amazon to cut that, which is what I used to cut the other one too. This one didn't cut as easy. I'm trying to get it done without too many splinters, but I end up with a lot of splinters anyway. So anyways, you just sand it down and go on. It left it a little bowed, so when you put the next two pieces together, if you're making this, use your two straightest pieces, straightest edges. Easy for me to say. Yeah, and then, you know, it's important to make sure you're wiping off the excess glue. You don't want to set your pieces down in a glob of glue, and when you go to stain it or whatever, you don't want to have glue globs there. Okay, so I'm cutting this big popsicle stick down, craft stick I should say. I never had a popsicle that big. But anyways, I'm cutting this down, and then I decide I don't like it. I don't want it. I don't want that big bulky piece of wood on there. So I'm taking some painter's tape that I bought at I think I bought it at a tool shop, and they were like 2 for $1 or whatever, and it's real thin. Anyways, I'm just cutting it to get a straight edge on it, and then I'm going to use hot glue, and then put that down and smash it a little bit. You're going to use the butt of my X-Acto knife there. It's still bumpy and lumpy, but I figured this is the best way, you know, get a little bit of support for it. And it's pretty flimsy at first. It is. You have to be careful with it. So what ended up happening was I got these glued together, and it ended up sitting down here for about 20 hours. And when I came back down, it was pretty sturdy. Actually, I was surprised. So I'm going to take one of the skinny skewers. I do use some of the bamboo not pieces, what do you call them? Bamboo sticks later. And I will, if you ever hear me doing a video, I will call them both skewers, so you never know which one I'm talking about, I guess. But anyways, hindsight and all, I would have cut this skewer larger than where I was sticking it. But anyways, to get the V shape, I go ahead and put a skewer up there at the top to hold those two pieces together. Now I realize that one of those planks will fit in into the middle there perfectly, right at where I put the two pieces together. So hindsight, cut your skewer a little bit longer so you have a little piece to hold on to so you don't burn your fingers with the glue. You can cut the skewer down later. But I didn't do it that way. I'm not sure if I figured it out or when exactly I figured it out, but anyways, this was so easy to set this up on its point like this and then just glue. Put your skewer down. But it's not all, you know, all the pieces that easy. But here's another thing, I got this crooked. I didn't really have anything to go by, just went by the crease where the two pieces went together, and it ended up crooked. So I did not realize it until after I did video that those two pieces were crooked, or that one end was crooked from the other. So I'm telling you to stay on the inside of the cut, but that's not the way I ended up doing it. I ended up making them long. Later in the video I realized that long was better, and you can just cut it down later. So you don't even have to mark that. Just take your whatever you're cutting them with and just cut it right above that, so you have room for your fingers and the hot glue. So anyways, this is just, you know, putting supports in. It already has the Crafter's Closet glue. And that wood was bowed. I just picked one up. I didn't pay attention, and it's got a really big bow in it. And that's not what made it crooked. It was my ciphering that made it crooked. My figuring. You could see when I set that down how it kind of bowed a little bit. It is not ready to be setting by itself. Okay, so there's the piece that I told you was way off. One was way bigger than the other. So I'm going to put that up to the top so that it doesn't interfere with how the other pieces go together. So I need to set that piece down and leave it alone. But anyways, it all worked out well. I don't know why when you watch a video it's already been done, you're thinking, oh no, you're going to mess it up. Even though it didn't mess up. I'm sitting here telling you it didn't mess up. I'm goofy. Anyway, parchment paper and antique wax. Waverly antique wax. And it swallows up a lot of it. So here I have to be really careful and not push on that seam, because it's still pretty flimsy. I did let it sit. I believe this was after I'd let it sit for a few hours, 20 hours, 15 to 20 hours. I went upstairs and my husband and I ended up shopping for 2 days. But anyways, by the time I had come back down, I was only down here for about a half an hour, but by the time I come back down it was nice and sturdy, but still not sturdy enough to support the weight of the shelf. So if when you get this done, if you want to hang this, you have to figure out a way to hang it that doesn't put you know, not by the top. You're not going to be able to hang it by the top. It's not that sturdy, and it's going to sit on there with hot glue and Crafter's Closet glue, and that's not going to be enough to hold the shelf plus paint on top. So, you know, it would however you hang it will have to bear a lot of weight. And mine is not going to be hung. Mine is just going to sit an arm's length away from me. It'll sit right behind my camera up against the wall. But so anyways, you don't have to paint both sides of this. So I should have taken the uneven side, left that, and painted that side, and then left the other side blank, because it's just going to go up against another set. But I didn't realize that when I first started doing them. Why waste your paint or your antique wax if you don't have to? So here I was talking and I'm showing you that the glue from the Dollar Tree is terrible, absolutely terrible. I had a couple spots in there, but nothing like that. Oh my goodness, so bad. and everywhere. So not only were they not the same sizes, they had glue just strung all over these things. Absolutely terrible. So paint would have been probably the best way to go on that, to cover up that glue. I actually was talking during that, and it was supposed to be part of the video like that, but my um, I thought it was my computer freezing up, but it wasn't. It was the battery in my mouse. My wireless mouse was dead, and I didn't know it, and I ended up dumping the whole thing, which messed up the audio recording, and it wouldn't match up to the video. So I ended up just doing a total voiceover. So I'm showing you here, I put the tape on the outside accidentally. It should have went on the inside, but then I'm just showing you my glue, where you can see my glue, where my glue's at, but it's nothing compared to how bad the Dollar Tree glue for manufactured is. But there you could see my shelf in the middle was bowed. I don't know what I'm telling you there. Something important. Something very important, I'm sure. But anyways, that's why, I guess that's why this one's not in fast forward. I apologize. I'm an amateur videoist. But anyways, just do the best you can with however you decide to do it. So I would recommend looking inside your boxes for the glue, and if you have a lot of glue, then maybe use paint instead of stain, like this is the antique wax, because antique wax is a lot more expensive than paint is. I could have painted it in burnt umber or black even, and it would have covered up those paint or glue marks. But anyway, so I still had the rest of it to paint. But remember, you don't have to paint both sides. Just the top side, that's the part that's going to be on top, and the bottom side. There's some of the Dollar Tree glue there. But the rest of the box looks really good, other than the glue inside. So, oh, and I didn't cover up my holes. I left the holes open. So that's what I was telling you. I didn't think I was going to cover the holes. But anyways, yeah, that looks really nice. But that's where the A-frame's going to set, because it's so uneven up there on top. One side is flat, but the other side is bumpy. So, alright, here they are, all done, all dry. I've got 3 set, and then this one's the top. Make sure that you get your uneven part up. And here we're going to use more skewers. I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm going to put figure out which side you want up. And then I'm going to use the Crafter's Closet glue first. Kind of get a base of that. And then I'm going to use a skewer with hot glue on it. And this will start, like I said, after, it's probably 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, that's got a really good tack to it. So as long as you don't, mess it around too much, that glue is really good. So here is when I realized I needed to leave enough room for my fingers. So I'm really going to glab the hot glue on to get this to stay. And that's why I said this is not sturdy enough to hang. It's not going to hang. you know, the back side, you could put those little picture hangers on there, the sawtooth hangers, but where's the nail going to come out? You would have to have it right at the very top of the crate, and there's really no place for your nail or your screw to come out. So, and then I thought, well, maybe I could use some wire back there. Twine or rope is not gonna, I mean, maybe just for adornments, you know, to make it look good, but it's not gonna hold it. It's really heavy. It's really heavy before you put paint in it. So if you wanted, you know, to make a knick-knack shelf and just put, you know, just put little light things on it, maybe you could hang it, you know, with a piece of rope. But for what I'm using it for, it was way too heavy just by itself. Now that little piece right there would hang up nice for you if, you know, if you could settle for that, you know, as a, you know, as all you needed. But I wanted to use up all 8 of the crates that I had, because I told myself I can't buy more stuff until I use up some of the stuff I already have. And okay, so here I'm showing you how the corners are separated a little bit, and you just want to mix them around, match them up the best, you know, the best you can. And you're going to use clamps on them, but you don't want a big, you know, a big difference in it. So here it looks pretty good. So just have your clamps ready. And another thing is, if you want to have more time, don't use hot glue. If I wouldn't have used hot glue, I probably wouldn't have had. Mine turned out great. I didn't have a lot of gaps in it because I was really conscious. Yeah, that word. I was really conscious. I don't know. About. I feel like because I have a cold, I feel like I can't, like my sinuses are all messed up and it's making my words sound funny. Anyway, but that word I've always had trouble with. But anyway, I know how to spell it, I just can't pronounce it very well. But I was very aware of how mix matched the boxes were. So I glued them accordingly so that they all did end up matching up in the end pretty well. They matched up pretty well. So my video freezes, but my voice doesn't, and it was my fault it froze. I clicked on something. How dare me. Anyway, lots of glue, but I made sure that it wouldn't gush out. And I didn't really need to use the hot glue, I guess, because I did end up leaving it set overnight, but I don't know, I just feel like it's not going to be sturdy enough if I don't use the right amount of glue. So better to be safe than sorry, I guess. Okay, so I did a video and I saw that the middle shelf was crooked up in the A-frame, and I couldn't tell it until I actually looked at the video. So I went in with some bamboo sticks, and here I'm just showing you really well here, and then there on, when you're looking at it, on the left side is actually, but here it looks like it's on the right side, but the reality was on the left side is smaller. There's smaller gap there. So in order to fix it, you're not taking those pieces out. They're glued way too well, and it's been sitting overnight. So I take some bamboo sticks and I basically cover up the mistake. So I go ahead and I frame it, and I have trouble with this part. Um, I don't know why. When it comes to angles and whatnot, I lose my freaking mind. But so I cut this at an angle, and then I think, well, it's going to take the same angle for the other side, but it doesn't. It doesn't match up that way. So I end up setting one on top of the other and marking where I needed to cut. It. So once I get that all done, then I glue those on, and then I do the centerpiece. And now the centerpiece, since I know the shelf is actually crooked, when I put my centerpiece on, the part that's lower, I make my centerpiece higher, and the other side I make my centerpiece a little lower, so that my bamboo skewers are making it look straight. I hope that made sense to you, because I'm sounding very doubtful right now. But when you're looking at it, the left side of the middle line of the A is lower than the right side. The left side is lower than the right side. So when I put my skewer on, I make the left side higher, as high as I can, so that you can't see that it's uneven. Yeah. So that it looks aesthetically pleasing. Even though, even though it is crooked. And it's strong enough that I can put Mod Podge or whatever I want up there. So it's completely functional as a paint bottle shelf. I wouldn't use anything any heavier than paint on that top shelf, or Mod Podge, paint or Mod Podge, the small bottles. You could probably put 4 of them up there and that'd be just fine. And as far as the rest of it goes, pile it in there. It's sturdy, very, very sturdy. It's not going anywhere. So the hot glue worked really well on the side pieces here, but the middle piece, for some reason, the hot glue didn't want to hold on that, and I'm not sure why. So I used wood glue and hot glue to hold that middle piece down. So I take that stick and I put it on there and I mark how I need to cut it, so I get the right angles on it. I don't try to guess like I did on the top part. Anyway, this really did turn out good, and I used up 8 things plus plus some of the planks. Now, after you get the bamboo sticks on and all painted, it looks like you used thick wood for the top. So it looks really good. Now, as far as the rest of it goes, you can use some paint stir sticks or popsicle sticks or bamboo sticks to put at each spot where the crates come together. But it's going to, if you use something wider than that, then it's going to interfere with how much paint you can store on it. So it's going to leave a ledge on there, unless you use the bamboo sticks that I use up there. But then the bottom one's going to be off. It's going to be, because it's a single at the bottom. So, but it's up to you. It would look really nice if you want to use it for knickknacks or whatever. You can cover up the holes just use brown paper even to cover it up, or use pieces of popsicle sticks. But anyways, this turned out really good. I hope you try it. I hope you like it. If you need a solution to your, you have too much paint laying around, this is your answer. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. I quit talking before the video runs out on me. Here it is. And it makes it look like it's got thick wood up at the top. Now I'm going to set it back into the area where it's going to set for me. Right, it'll be right behind my camera. And there it is, being fully functional. You can't even tell that that was ever crooked up there until you get up to the top. Thanks again for watching.